So last week. All right, y'all ready to start admitting folks?
Yes.
I'm trying to
Yes, I'll be on
let me
that.
mute participants upon entry. I just did that.
I will be
All
right.
right. I'm gonna let them in, okay?
Okay, sounds good.
All right, good morning, everyone.
Welcome, everyone. Welcome to our Women of Power. We're gonna get started here in about 30 seconds because it is 10 o'clock. Give people a few seconds to get ready, get started. And we are here to give you guys some education. Let's do it. I hope everybody's having an amazing day so far. We're already in, what month is this? May.
Hey.
Like, what month is this? Where are we
May 4th.
Oh, may the 4th be with you, right?
Yes.
I'm not even a Star Trek person, but I remember that date. All right, so we are going to get started. I am going to clap and then get going. So good morning, everyone. Happy Thursday. Welcome to our weekly training with Power Partners United, hosted by the wonderful Women of Power. You've got myself, Marisa Fletcher, Isela, you've got Cynthia, and you've got Chrislyn. So you've got the 4 Women of Power here to train you each week, provide inspiration, shares, and yes, let's talk solar. So we will jump right in. We always like to start with wins. We want to hear some wins that are going on out there in the industry. Everybody's been working hard. We've had a lot of changes going on. Now we've got a chance to breathe a little bit, and let's talk about some of those wins. So if you could jump on camera. I see a lot of faces. Hello, everybody. Jump off mute. You can raise your hand. We'll go one by one and just share some wins with everybody and give some inspiration. So I see Miss Chrislyn's hand up. Go ahead, Chris. The floor is yours.
All right. Hey guys, good morning. I'm so excited to be back on today. I just wanted to share that last week I presented to a room full of brokers, real estate agents, etc. And out of that presentation, I connected with a broker who was in the market for solar. It then turned to, a quick intro. He gained trust real quick because of the network that we were in. And so I sent him a proposal via email, didn't even do a presentation. And by Monday, we signed a contract. So the power of networking and doing these presentations is really where to go. And that was a big win for me. And then also signed on board a dear friend yesterday. So I'm excited for her to join the solar industry and take it from there. So that was my big win for the week.
Yay. I love it. I have a follow-up question to that, Miss Chris. Unmute, please.
Yes, ma'am.
Your first time doing an event like that?
It was my second time doing that event. And I feel like just being more confident after all of these trainings that we've had here with the Women of Power. I was able to utilize the slide that Marissa and Cynthia went over, kind of just customize that to my own style, and was able to present it with confidence. And from there, gained the trust of the room and was able to connect. So that was that.
I love that. Thank you.
Yeah,
so
thank
much
you
for sharing that. That gives me personal joy. And I know it gives others personal joy because we're telling you guys what works and we're putting it into place and it works. It's amazing. So awesome. Thank you for that share, Chris. We appreciate you as always. I see a bunch of other hands. So I'm going to call 3 names and let's remember that order. If you don't mind, let's go Isela, Robin, and then Kathy. You're muted, Isela.
Good morning, everyone. This is Isela. So happy to see you all here, the Women of Power. It's interesting. We normally don't have a lot of rain, right, in LA. All of a sudden, it's like we had a couple of installations that got moved back, but we finally got one installed. And just really happy to share. His name is Waleed, and actually I met him through Cynthia's networks. Chrislyn and I had helped him close a couple of deals. I had dinner with him this week on Monday, and we closed 5 together, and then he's closed a total of 11. So he is alone. Yeah, so he's taking this. As you know, real estate is not as hot as it was earlier this year and last year. And so he's really added this to his portfolio. So as we're all trying to connect with real estate agents, that's really important. So he's just wanted to know more about solar, what's going on in the industry. So that was really awesome. It's really happy for us as mentors to see a mentee, you know, go on their own and do very well. And then, and then we had an installation this week with his project. And then also went to BNI yesterday. We had a business builder day, and it was a guest that we had is looking for solar. So I'll be connecting with her. So it's always important to network and just get out there. So that's all I wanted to share, but thank you.
Nice, nice, nice. I hear a common theme. I'm loving it. I'm super pumped. All right, who was up next? I can't remember.
I think I was.
All right, let's go, Robin.
So kind of building on what you both are saying, I have a funny story. So I have a homeowner that I'm working with who we have a mutual friend, and I did an initial kind of meet and greet at their house. And then when the proposal came in, I didn't like the way it looked on the roof. And I thought, well, I'll go over and see if I can get some pictures of the roof to send to the project team to make it more clear where I think some panels should go. So I live in this little beach community, and it's on the other side of the lake, and the houses there are so tight. And I went over and I'm like, okay, there's no way I can get a picture of this. And I was kind of wandering up and down the street, and the next door neighbors, they're like, can I help you? And I explained what I was doing. I said, oh, I'm trying to get a picture of the roof next door. She's like, oh, come in my yard, I don't care. And then we started talking, and she goes, oh, we've been talking about solar. So lo and behold, she sends me a bill that afternoon. And so yesterday I went and I did back-to-back meetings with 2 homeowners right next to each other, just from me like wandering around the streets. And I'm hoping, you know, obviously that something will happen with one or both of these, but it was just one of those, like, sort of being in the right place at the right time.
That's awesome, Robin. And when you win these 2 deals, that's going to be an amazing story to tell the rest of the neighborhood.
Exactly.
Because you got 2 right next door. That's awesome.
Exactly.
Awesome. Always talking about solar. That'll get you some bills. I love it.
Yep.
I think Kathy was up next.
Yes, can you guys hear me?
We can.
I've missed you guys. My other team meeting's been overlapping yours, and today it was canceled. I'm like, yay, I get to see Marissa and Cynthia. Okay, so Marissa, I will have to be transparent. When I first met Marissa, she gave me the encouragement to train and to educate. And it was something I was shy about, but she's like, it's okay. You'll get better at it the more you do. So now when I pitch, I say I work with businesses to educate their audience on the benefits of going solar, and I can make it mutually beneficial for the both of us. And that's my elevator pitch, right? When I do networking. Well, I'm a co-host at a networking event, and I used that pitch, and then someone scheduled a one-on-one with me and became one of my ambassadors because they were interested on, 1, they thought solar was great. 2, they want to know how is it mutually beneficial for them. And I've had a couple of other people seek me out because now when I network, I'm not particularly networking with people to sell them solar in a networking atmosphere. I'm networking with them to see how we can leverage their environment, their client base, to teach their clients virtually about solar. So that was a big win when people are starting to seek me out. That was nice.
Oh, amazing. I love it. I'm going to borrow your catchphrase and reword it a little. So if you hear it,
that's okay. It's a little wordy. You think it's a little wordy?
No. I just don't want to copy you word for word.
That's okay.
I
copy you guys all the time. As soon as I can, I'm about to have a black shirt like Cynthia, wear my hair slicked back. You look beautiful, by the way, today, Cynthia. Just want to throw that out there.
But that's amazing. I hear a common theme. I hear that we're looking for referral partners, that we're pitching that mutual benefit to those partners so that we can have a bigger audience. I love it. It reminds me of a win that I just had that you just reminded me of, like I said, Kathy. One of my sellers on the team has a family member that owns a postal annex store. And I got her sale because she's a real estate broker, and there was one of her agents. We were doing a deal, so she's gonna get paid. She looked at the commission and she's like, "Wow, I'm gonna make money, and I didn't even have to do anything." Right? Marisa did everything. I made money off of that. So she told her aunt in the postal annex store, and now I have a meeting with her aunt to do weekly, not every week, but to do weekly meetings on Saturdays in her postal annex store with the same intent. To talk to those people that come in. They're all business owners, or most of them are business owners in this particular store, to talk to them about the intent of talking to their clients and making it mutually beneficial. So that's why I love that line, because I'm literally going to be using it Saturday. So thank you for that share. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Are there any other amazing wins? Any other wins in the room? Anybody want to jump off mute and just share real quick?
Marisa, well, I'll share that you and I recently did a solar for real estate agents. And, honestly, we kind of threw it together last minute. We had a lot of things going on. Cynthia was sick with COVID last week. Marisa, I don't know. But we decided to do it anyway. And we did get a good, it was a small group. It was like 12 real estate agents, but that takes, and on there the entire time, and they listened to the full 1 hour training, and a few of them reached out after that couldn't make it and was like, missed it, do you have the recording? And so they are definitely looking at trainings like that. But yeah, thank you, Marisa, for helping me with that.
Awesome. It was so much fun, and I look forward to the next one. Anyone else? Going once, going twice. Okay, everyone's here for the amazing training. I totally understand that. So let's jump right into it. Thank you, everybody, for your wins. We really appreciate the inspiration and you just sharing and being transparent with us on how everything is working for you. All right, so right before we jump into our training today, we always want to let you know about the future trainings that are coming up that we believe you should plug into or that's available to you. The good thing is most of these trainings are recorded. So if you cannot make the date and time, no problem. Go to the source. You'll find the recordings of all the prior trainings. So Mondays, Tuesdays, Thursdays, Fridays, please grab a screenshot. Don't forget our market development trainings. Those are huge, you guys. That's where we're getting all the latest and greatest updates based on our markets. So please join those trainings. I'd love to see you all there. Please mark your calendar for May 13th. That is our Powur Day. And that's right around the corner. Yeah, that's coming up. Powur Day, go ahead and mark your calendar. That is a virtual event that we're going to be having. Check powurcalendar.com to find out more about that. And with no further, what's the phrase? Well, you know what I mean. Bringing up the one, the only Miss Cynthia Alvidrez. She is doing part 2 of our series, Solutions for NEM 3.0. So we all want to understand NEM 3.0 better. It's brand new, just happened this month or last month. And so we're here to bring you guys a series specifically geared on NEM 3.0 over the next couple of weeks. So this week it's Cynthia Alvidrez taking over. Cynthia, you have the floor.
All right, thanks everyone. I'm looking forward to this training today. So really just wanted to dive into and review what the difference is between NEM, NEM, aka 2.0 versus 3.0. And make sure that we're all aware of the differences and just talk about like what conversations are going to change in them and what do we need to be asking, what do we need to be looking for, what it's probably going to look like. This really is going to be a learn as we go for a lot of us because it's the first time where we're seeing it. So I do have some objection handling we'll go over as well. And if you guys have heard any objections so far from clients, feel free to drop them in the chat. I'd be really interested to see them. I'm doing an ongoing update to those. And Barry says there's now a lawsuit to overturn CPUC's decision. That would be very cool. That would be very cool. But For now, while we're dealing with it, let's go ahead and dive into our training and I'll show you what I have. Share. How do I share this? Oh no, this is not the right thing. Sorry. How do I do a slideshow, you guys? Oh, all right. All right, so this is now the third version of California's, the third really iteration of solar in California. At first we had net metering 1.0, then we had 2.0, now we're going into 3.0. I will tell you guys, in 2018, when we transitioned from 1.0 to 2.0, everyone was like, oh no, solar is gonna come to an end. 2.0 is terrible. It's gonna be awful. No one's gonna wanna go solar. And guess what? Everything was perfectly fine. No one felt the difference between going from $1 connection charges to $15 connection charges. As long as we told them, hey, this is the way it works, that's all they knew. And it was perfectly fine. And we saw a lot of success in net metering 2.0. I have full confidence that that's what's going to happen in 3.0, as long as we set the proper expectations for how it works, we don't surprise customers, and we really learn 3.0 inside and out, everything's going to be perfectly. Main changes are that credits are about 75% lower with PG&E, SCE, and about 86% lower with SDG&E. In my experience, look rates, I do still feel they're about 86% lower with even S, because if you're looking at rates where it's 50 cents, the average price per kilowatt hour they're getting payback at is about 5 cents. And so we definitely teeter on an 86 to 90% loss as well. So that's something to think about. The true up will now be monthly versus annual. So just for better visibility on the differences, exported solar under 2.0 was credited at 100% value. So what was cool about this was you could build their solar system in the daytime, in the daytime, at nighttime they could use the same amount of electricity because it was a 1-to-1 ratio, so it made sense. Under 3.0, they lose that credit. The game is to be to store that solar power. You don't want to export. That's the main difference. It's now official to export your power, where in the past, all of our clients in California knew that selling your solar power was kind of the cool thing. So I would always get customers that say, hey, I heard you could sell your solar power. And then they would always be surprised because you can't really sell it for much anyway, right? I mean, that wasn't like the main reason to go solar anyway under net metering 2.0, and now even more so under 3.0. It's not what we want to do. We want to try to harness all the power. We don't want to sell the power. Homeowners on 2.0 prefer could only size their systems up to 200%, and most of these utilities, and now homeowners under 3.0 is up to 150%, which is perfectly fine because we don't want to oversize systems under net metering 3.0. And the reason for that is unless you have enough battery storage in excess to store all that power, it's going to go to waste anyway. So if they don't use it, if they don't store it, they lose it. That's really it in a nutshell. So you shouldn't really be sized close to 150%. Now it is going to be different if you know that they're adding electric vehicles, if they're adding a pool, if they're getting a spa, like those kind of things are going to probably just the pool and the electric vehicle are going to really increase their electricity consumption. And that would be the only case where I would say like, okay, you want to size closer to 150% under net metering 3.0. So biggest thing that we need to know is it used to be annual net metering, right? Where in some months, if customers produced more than what they were using, those credits went to following months. But now, single month, monthly net metering is going to happen, which means that every single month, the homeowner is going to true up with their utilities. So if they used more than what their solar system produced, they're going to get a bill not only for their non-bypassable, but for their energy consumption that month. And we're going to take a look at a usage graph so you guys can kind of see what months you can set that expectation for with your homeowner. That usage graph on your proposals now is going to be so important. You're going to need to spend a good amount of time there, let the homeowners know, hey, in January, February, this is an example, January, February, March, these months you're going to be using less, you're going to see credits, Mr. Customer, but hey, in July, August, September, October, most likely you're going to use more than what your system can produce, and you're going to pay a supplemental bill. So as long as you set that expectation in the beginning, I don't believe that there's any such thing as, hey, this is your monthly bill now. It's about $15 to $30. I think that language needs to go out the window, because it's going to be different every single month of the year now, and it's not going to be the same anymore. But as far as non-bypassable charges, in the past, the way they were calculated was by 2 cents per kilowatt hour. So whatever the homeowner was pulling at night from Edison, for example, they were paying at a rate of 2 cents per kilowatt hour, where now it's 4 cents per kilowatt hour. This is only going to affect homeowners that don't have storage. So if you think about like under 3.0, there's a lot of chatter about, well, we can size the system to be about 50%, right? They're not pulling energy at night. Well, if you do that, then their energy at night that they would be pulling, not only are they paying that energy, but now they're paying twice as much in non-bypassable charges, because they're pulling all that energy at night. They're pulling half of their energy from the grid at night. And so on 2.0, you would see non-bypassable charges at $50 to $30. You can expect $30 to $50 bypassable charges if you undersize a system. And so that's something to know. But if you put a battery on that system, then they're really not pulling from the at night. If you can shift their loads appropriately, which we're going to talk about, and it might kind of even out the same or even less for non-bypassable charges, which is good because they have monthly net metering. So you can just rely on the monthly bill being whatever they pull from Edison, whatever their system wasn't able to produce. Under 2.0, the grandfather is a 20-year term, and under 3.0, it's a 9-year term. So knock on wood, that hopefully by that time we can undo this mess that they did, or make it a little less. Hopefully it's nothing worse, I know, after that. So these are the utilities in California, and these are the 3 affected by it up here: Southern California, SDG&E, PG&E, and experience, where is it? Riverside Public Utility has a version of 3.0 already. They're capped at 150%. Most of these utilities are not affected by 3.0, but they all have their individual net metering policies. One thing that Jonathan Brunasso brought up in his training is California has had it good for a long time. And if you need any confidence in the fact that 3.0 is not going to be a big deal, look at Florida, look at Texas, look at Nevada, Arizona as well. They have thriving solar markets, and they have a net metering policies that are similar and sometimes even worse than net metering 3.0. And they are thriving, they're growing, solar is booming. So don't focus on things going forward. That word needs to be taken out of our sales vocabulary, because we don't want to pitch savings. You're going to set your sale up for failure if you pitch savings. You want to pitch control. We'll talk about what to focus on, in fact. So these are the things you're going to want to focus on. Rising rates. Owners can protect themselves against rising rates by going solar, right? Whether they lease a solar system, whether it's PPA, whether they purchase it, we can give them a fixed payment so that they can protect themselves against rising rates. So a discovery question or an elevator pitch might sound something like, hey, have you noticed how drastically the electric rates are going up? Have you noticed over the years your bill's going higher? Yes, everyone right now is talking about it. It's not just electricity, right? It's gas, it's water, it's everything. So focusing on the pain point of rising rates is going to be essential. Tax incentives. So if there's any clue that the solar industry is only going to boom from here, the tax credit was extended for over a decade. And so tax incentives, focus on that. Hey, there are huge incentives. You can put thousands of dollars potentially back into your pocket. That's what you want to focus on. There is still the potential for long-term savings. When you're giving someone a fixed monthly bill versus a climbing bill that they currently pay, then there's going to be long-term savings. Not to mention the fact that if you're selling them a solar system and it's financed, that payment's going to end one day. And so they're going to have a lot of savings, especially after their payment term. So focusing on that is important. Security and independence. look at what's happening right now with rising rates. We have no control over this. When the gas company, for example, a few months ago, doubled, tripled our bills, we had no option but to pay it. We were kind of stuck. And so going solar gives homeowners security, independence, control over their solar systems. You guys know this, I don't have to explain it, but you want to hit these points harder now more than ever, and setting themselves up for retirement, especially if you're doing a purchase product where someone can pay off their solar system in 5, 10, 15, 20 years. So by the time their solar system's done being paid off, they don't have a bill anymore. So focusing on that and the environmental impacts. I don't know if you guys have seen the impact report that Powur put out. If you guys have not ordered those yet, they're really, really cool. And I use them to present at my BNI recently. And I was showing them like what we're doing to our earth, the fact that we would now need 2 earths to sustain the damage that we have done just to live our current lifetime and our children's lifetimes. And that's pretty insane, you guys. And the fact that 70% of species have been depleted since 1970, that's wild. We're just not paying attention. And so as homeowners, we have a special opportunity to go solar and help the environment. And so this was one point that I don't think many of us really focus on when we convert homeowners over to solar, but I think that instills pride in homeowners, and mentioning that, making that a bigger part of your sale and your pitch, I think is going to be really important. So these are some objections that I expect to see out there that I've gotten so far. If you guys want to screenshot these answers, these are just some responses to some of the objections. Like, I heard solar companies will be going out of business due to net metering 3.0. Yes, Mr. Customer, some solar companies are afraid of the changes in California, but the truth is almost every other state have similar policies and they have thriving solar markets, and so on and so forth. And there's more detailed explanations. So if you guys want to screenshot this, feel free to take a look, make it your own. I feel like some kind of answer like this is going to be helpful to answer some of these objections. I heard it's not worth it for homeowners. I heard it's more expensive to go solar now than before. Is that true? And then why would I go solar if I'm not saving money? So there's some answers to that. And the next one, my neighbor got a system with the old prices. He told me I won't get as good of a deal. Is that true? So feel free to screenshot those if you want. If you have any you'd like answered or any you want to add, please drop them in the chat. I'd love to add them to NEM 3.0 objection handling here. All right. All right. So this is kind of just a rough draft of some best practices I've been going over in my head. I've been going back and forth with just kind of figure out, like, what do I need to ask owners now going forward? What do I need to make sure I do every single time with the homeowner? So the first thing is to determine what percentage of electricity is being used daytime versus the night. The reason this is going to be super important is because to shift homeowners and their large loads from nighttime to daytime. And the reason for that is because for most solar systems under 10 kilowatts, and they could potentially away with only using one storage unit, right? So 10 kilowatt hours of power, if we can shift their large loads to the daytime. So finding out in your discovery with the homeowner, what percentage is being used at night? Can they even shift? Like, hey, Mr. Homeowner, when you go solar, it's actually more beneficial to use all your electricity in the daytime.
Can you guys hear me? Okay, it looks like Cynthia got frozen. I know she's going to log back in here any second now. So let's give her a moment. But so far, is the information proven to be useful for you guys? Yeah, lots of information. Okay, so we're waiting for Cynthia to jump back in. We're on the lookout for her. If you guys have questions, please go ahead and throw them in the chat. We're going to go through the chat at the end of this, at the end of the training.
Hey guys, sorry about that.
That is okay. Let me make you a co-host.
Where did we leave off?
There you are. All right.
All right, so we were talking about, we were here. All right, so large loads, when we think about large loads, most of those can be changed to the daytime. A lot of people have thermostats, right? They can turn off and on from home, cooling their home in the daytime, turning it off as soon as the sun sets. That's another thing too. The third best practice here would be to always have south and west facing panels. Those are going to be essential. In the past, if you had a full south facing plane, that was great because you got great production in the daytime. Didn't really matter if you got that every last second of sun. But now you're going to want a few panels on the west side at the very least. And if you can split it in half, that would be great too. So south and west facing panels are going to be very, very important for capturing every last minute of sun. And as responsible solar professionals, we're going to need to know that if you can't place west facing panels, then they're going to have production ending at around 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, right? Because they're not getting that sunset sun. So knowing that, setting the proper expectation that they are going to most likely have a monthly bill with Edison because of that. Showing the homeowner, the fourth best practice so far that I have written out here is showing the homeowner their annual production graph versus their solar production to set the proper expectation. So I'll show you what I mean by that. So if we're looking at this graph here, and you're trying to determine this right here is set up for 100% offset right here. So it's at 100% offset. That is kind of my tactic going into net metering 3.0. I think that that's the sweet spot is around 100% with storage. I'm going to try not to undersize solar systems if I can help it, just because, again, we know now that if we do that, they're going to be pulling half of their electricity from Edison and their non-bypassable charges are going to be higher anyways. And so might as well spend that money on extra solar power. So if we're looking at a system that's 100% offset, and we might want to go higher, but you want these bars, the production versus consumption, to be relatively close together if you can help it, because if you have months like this, August, September, October, November, December, all of these months here, you can see that the homeowner is using more than what the solar is designed to produce. So what that means is, like this month here, their consumption is about, I can't do math in my head, but 100 kilowatt hours more. So they're going to pay 100 kilowatt hours multiplied by Edison's current rate or whatever utility they have by 35 cents on average, right? So they're going to have an energy bill for that amount that month, plus non-bypassable charges for that amount as well, multiplied by 4 cents. And so all these months here, they're going to have a bill. So we're going to have to set that expectation that, hey, Mr. Homeowner, we're giving you solar to cover all of your electricity. However, if you consume more than what your system produces, then you're going to pay a very small bill. You're just going to pay the difference to Edison. So instead of us talking about this on an annual basis like we used to, we're just talking about it on a monthly basis. And we have to make sure that they understand this, because if not, you're going to get a lot of angry phone calls later. Hey, I'm getting a bill every month. Well, yeah, your solar should cover most of everything, but you are going to pay for whatever you use above what your solar system gives you. So that's what it's going to sound like. And there's going to be months like this, March, April, May, June, where the homeowner systems are producing more than what they're using. And this is also not not the greatest either, because you don't want to have too much of an overage, because a lot of that is really lost production, because you don't get full value, full credit value on that. So like if we were to take April, for example, just as an example, and what they're consuming, let's say a solid, solar is producing 400 kilowatt hours more. If I do this on my phone here, 1,481 kilowatt hours minus the consumption of 1,117. I didn't do that right. 1,481 minus 1,017 equals, hold on guys, my calculator is not working. 1,017 equals 464 kilowatt hours. So this month of April, they are consuming, their solar is producing 464 kilowatt hours more, right? So 464 kilowatt hours more. We know that homeowners lose about 80% of those kilowatt hours. And so if we're taking away 80% of that, that's 371 kilowatt hours. So just to round it, they only get 100 kilowatt hours of that in credits, and that's going to apply towards that month. So it'll show as a deduction of their monthly bill. It's not going to roll over to the next month now. And so they're going to lose it if they don't use it. So you don't want to have too much of this where their solar is producing a lot more, but it's just going to happen because the solar system is not going to produce the same amount every single month than what the homeowner uses. So you want these bars to be kind of closely together, as close as you can get them every single month. And so for some of you, that might look like 80% offset, that might look like 120% offset. It really depends on how the homeowner uses electricity. But regardless of what offset you have, whether it's 80, whether it's 120, if you're looking at these bars, we just need to make sure that we explain that properly to the homeowner, that they know that, look, here, most of these months your solar is going to be covering everything, but there are going to be months where you are paying the difference. That's it. You're just paying the difference. And they don't know any different. They don't know that this is not how solar worked before. And so just remember that. And fine. So let me go ahead. This is for you. And if you have not seen in NEM3 facts, NEM3 toolkit, that's in there as well. And then I highly recommend that you guys attend the market development meetings Wednesday at 3 p.m. We'll probably have ongoing conversations about net metering 3.0 there. Pictures of battery systems here. And then these are the three solutions going forward, right? These are kind of your three options when it comes to how do we combat net metering 3.0. So the NEM 3.0 basic is where you would just do a small solar offset. So all this means is instead of giving a home a storage solution like with Solar Edge and Enphase, and what I mean by storage versus battery backup is now we know that they can remove the backup battery component. It's less expensive. But if you have neither of those, if you don't have storage or backup power, then that would be what Powur is calling Powur Basic, which is just a small solar offset. Powur Saver is NEM 3.0 protection, which means that we are protecting, or is the option where we're giving them a Solar Edge storage solution or an Enphase storage solution that has no backup power. It's just going to be a 10 kilowatt hour. It's also called a battery, a 10 kilowatt hour battery to store all their power that the system's producing at night. So that is why if you're selling under like a 10 kilowatt hour system, a 10 kilowatt system, you want to try to shift all of their loads to the daytime, because at nighttime, you want to try to keep it to around 10 kilowatt hours of used power so that they can use everything in their battery and they're not dipping into the grid. Now for systems, I would say over 10 kilowatts, it's most definitely going to dip into the grid if you only give them 10 kilowatt use storage unit. And so most likely after that, you're going to have to use 2 of them. And that might be true for systems that are smaller than 10 kilowatts, because if you have a homeowner that is using a lot of their electricity at night and they're telling you we can't shift our loads to the daytime, then you're going to need to have that conversation with them. Well, you know, if you are using 50% of your electricity at night, then you're going to need more of these storage solutions. And we can show them those options, right? Once they're available. And so we can show them what one storage solution that this just Powur, which are a regular battery. These are the 3 options. These are the 3 methods and approaches you can take in net metering 3.0 going forward. So general rules of thumb, one of the ones to come up with a nice little graph where he showed that, you know, if you have a 10 kilowatt hour system, you're most likely going to need 20 kilowatt hours of battery, which I agree with. That seems to make sense. In 10 kilowatt system, if they're heavy nighttime users, you might need 2, and that's why we want to coach them to shift their loads to the daytime. If you're doing Powur Basic, start with 60 to 70% offset. I think that that's a very good rule of thumb. I agree with that. Show 100% offset first with batteries, backup or no backup, then move to 120% after if the numbers look good. I think this is a good tactic also. I think sizing closer to 100% is probably going to be the play, but it's going to look different for every homeowner because it depends on what months are their high months, and it depends on the way their panels face, and there's a lot of variables. Let homeowner know the post solar bill will be a range. Yes, this is really important, right? We talked about this in best practices, no longer having that language of, hey, your monthly non-bypassable charges are going to be $10 to $15 to $30. That's non-existent now. Yes, there are monthly charges, but what's more important to know is that they're going to pay the difference of whatever their solar system produces in the months where their system is producing less. Okay, so different loan options. So when we're trying to combat NEM 3.0, and now we're dealing with these loans that have, you know, dealer fees and climbing interest rates, it's making it a little harder for the numbers to make sense sometimes. And so we do expect to see different options come into the market. This is one option that I've used several times for my homeowner. It's called the EECU Credit Union, and they have loans. They will loan up to 40 grand for a solar system. So on our end, it would be a cash proposal, and they do 0 dealer fees and just a straight interest rate. And sometimes that interest rate can be as low as 5.99%. I have seen it go higher, like 9.99, but even then, it might be worth it for the homeowner to apply and take a look at. And then NEM, it looks like that's another credit union that's an option, and there's others coming soon. So I think as part of the discovery process, what you might want to put in there now is asking them, are they a member of a credit union already? And, you know, have their friends gone solar? Have their friends paid cash? And just kind of fishing for those answers, because a lot of homeowners are part of a credit union or they do have access to special financing. So it is always going to be worth it for them to double check and see. So real big 3 benefits of storage, obviously grid reliability, regulatory protection, savings and incentives. We talked about that a little bit. I don't think we need to go deeper on that. Marisa, can you hear me okay? Can you give me thumbs up?
There you go. You're back.
Okay, thank you. All right, so benefits of storage, grid stability, energy independence, protection from NEM changes, backup power, cost saving. You do backup power are really freaking cool, right? They integrate with their app. You can see in real time solar filling the battery at night. The battery is going to be weather sensitive. And so as a storm comes, your battery is going to be able to reserve that power as well. So many benefits to storage. And by now, you guys should have all taken the storage certification. I found it very helpful when I took it myself. I learned a couple things that I didn't know before. Solar Edge and Enphase also have battery trainings as well that are extremely helpful. And so if you're feeling like you need to brush up on your battery knowledge, now is definitely the time, because we're going to be seeing a lot of batteries going forward. It's going to be really essential to know the basics. And so these are just some pictures. I think this is Jonathan Brunoso system somewhere in here. I don't know. I think I saw him on the call. There is not currently the different options in Solo or Vision, I believe. I believe we're still working on getting those uploaded. And so when we're talking about storage only, right? When we're talking about no backup here, these are the prices. We still don't have those options. You would just plug this in perhaps to your margin, maybe under miscellaneous electrical is probably where I'm going to put it in. So if you're doing no backup only, this is the amount that you need to allocate. If you're doing Enphase, it's going to be $7,759 for one storage with no backup. And then this is Solar Edge. There was a piece of our commission that was built into the price. That's no longer the case. So just be aware of that it's all now in margin. And then Solar Edge, if you're doing no backup, $8,338 is what you need to allocate for one storage system. And that's with no backup. And then these are just our regular batteries with backup here. And so don't need backup power, right? Like they didn't need it in 2.0. They don't need it really going forward. So if you're thinking about a system that produces over 10 kilowatt hours, which is over 10 kilowatts in size, which is very common for California, now you're going to be able to give them 20 kilowatt hours of storage at the price of one battery. So think about that. That's pretty cool. And that'll give you confidence that homeowner, if they have a 10 to 12 kilowatt system, is going to be able to store all of the power that they're producing at night and pull from that. So that's one thing I'm looking forward to. A 20 kilowatt hour, no battery, a benefit, because it's $1,000 in cost for just one battery at 10 kilowatt hours. So just something I wanted to note. But this is the base price of all of the storage systems we have. And then you probably heard on one of the master classes that Enphase is coming out with the different storage solutions to help us better customize for NEM 3.0. So like the 6 kilowatt hour option, we're going to be able to do like 13 kilowatt hours and 16 kilowatt hour storage unit. So it's going to be a lot easier to customize those. All right. And I think this is kind of the same, except just blown up here. So battery capacity. So let's talk about, what does a 10 kilowatt hour battery backup anyway? Because there's a difference here. If we're only doing storage for 10 kilowatt hours, it's going to cover all the storage. It's not like you only get storage for certain items. But if you're doing storage and backup, then they're going to cover only select items. So one 10 kilowatt hour battery generally will cover lights, fridge, phone charging, microwave, fans, TV, internet, garage door. If you're doing a 20 kilowatt hour battery backup, then that's going to cover a lot more: garage door, dishwasher, larger appliances like the washer and dryer, most likely, and potentially an AC too. It doesn't say it here, but a 30 kilowatt hour battery is recommended for AC. At least that's what Enphase recommends. So yeah, just going back to that really quickly. Let me see. It's not letting me go back. That's okay. All right, we need to move on with the training here. I think we're coming to time anyway. So if you guys do have Sunnova access, if you do not, work with a Sunnova approved mentor, because Sunnova is running a promotion right now where your homeowner can get a free battery, which is an $8,000 value with your lease storage, and it makes the lease look really, really good at a very, very attractive price. So get with a Sunnova approved mentor on this. We are probably going to have to end here because we are at time, and then we'll go ahead and open it up for some questions.
All righty. Thank you so much for that, Cynthia. Even though the internet wouldn't let us be great at some points, I know that everybody got good value out of that meeting. And again, we're going to continue these trainings. We're going to continue these series and keep building onto them and adding to them as we're getting new information. Office hours are going to be crucial for updates and things like that. But yeah, let's get through the last part of this, and then we'll open up for questions and answers. So thank you again, Cynthia. Everyone, again, a screenshot for you. You've got a project that's in the works. You want to know the steps to get it through or get questions answered. Here's your answers right here. If you could grab a quick screenshot of that, it'll be very helpful to you. And then last but not least, we do have a Women of Power newsletter. If you are not a part of the newsletter, all you have to do is add your first name, last name, and email address to the chat. You will be added to the newsletter. The newsletter goes out on Fridays. It will have this training on it, and it will also have all of our past prior trainings on it as well. So lots of good information for you guys there. I know I'm going to have to watch these trainings over and over again, so great place to find them. And we always like to end with a quote. Our Women of Power quote today is "Success is a learnable skill" by T. Harv Eker. So yeah, you know, we can learn the skills that we need in order to be great, as long as we're consistent and stick to them. So on that note, I am going to go ahead and stop the recording, and we will open up for our office hours. See you guys back here next week.
All right.
Thank you for taking the time to watch the Women of Power training series. I hope that you got some great value out of that video, and there's much, much more where that came from. Listen, if you'd like to join Powur or find out more about this awesome and amazing platform, please feel free to reach out to me. My contact information is in the description. I look forward to connecting with you real soon. Have a great day.